Hi everyone, this is Charmaine here, and I'm the dietitian that helps people reverse type 2 diabetes with plant-based eating. And we have Mike here, our wonderful client in our reversing diabetes system. You can say hi to everyone, Mike.
Hello, everyone.
Awesome, awesome. And Mike, what prompted you to reach out to us?
Well, I got married a year ago. Okay, a year ago in October. So my A1C was decent at the time. I want to say it was around 6.8. Well, after I got married, we went on a cruise for our honeymoon and kind of started lacking in my diet quite a bit. So around February or so, it actually got a little bit worse. I went on to what I like to call a seafood diet. Basically, anything I saw, boom, right into my mouth. Well, fast forward a couple months, I'd had some blood work done in June of this year and found out my A1C was 10.2. And I hit the brakes on everything then. And I said, I've got to do something. Now, be honest, Charmaine, I'd seen you on TikTok quite a bit before that. And I'm like, there's no way. There is no way this works. But I decided to take the plunge. And around the end of June, I became a customer, started on July 1st. And this has been life-changing. It really has. You've been a godsend to me, you and the team. Kara and Galia have just been amazing. So I'm happy to report that I just had my blood sugar checked again, and my A1C went from a 10.2 to 6.2.
Wow.
So the 10.2 is what really prompted me to do this because I've been fighting diabetes for years, and I finally got to the point when I saw 10.2, I just said no more. I've got to do this for myself and my family. I mean, I just got married a year ago. I want to be around for a long time.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, congratulations on your new marriage. That's so exciting. And, that's amazing. That's 4 points in just a few months. How do you feel about that?
Oh, I am ecstatic. I really am. Did I think it was possible when I first started? No, because I was in it like a routine, of not doing things. But through the help of the team, I was able to change my eating habits completely and start exercising very regularly again. See, I used to walk almost 2 miles every day. I had stopped that during the seafood diet era, but I got back onto it again. And then when I added the weight workout and just different workouts in the gym, boy, I tell you what, it really made a big difference.
Amazing, amazing. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, also, I had visits with my doctor yesterday. Well, actually, over the last 2 days, both endocrinologist and primary care physician. And I'm happy to let you know that my doctor has cut my meds in half.
Amazing. That is
And
cool.
thank you. And now the next plan is because I told both my endo and my primary carers I want to get off meds. They said, okay, let's see where you're at in 3 months and we can decrease or maybe eliminate them altogether. So ready for part 2 here.
Amazing, amazing. That's also, always my favorite part is to hear that, your doctors are on board and, they're able to see your progress. So I think that's amazing. And, I know that you mentioned, when you first saw me on TikTok, you're like, no way this is possible. Can you dig a little bit deeper about that and how you changed your mind from, being a skeptic to, actually being full in, and now you're our, program ambassador. So, how did that all change for you?
Well, the first thing I did was I watched a lot of your TikToks. I did. And then I saw where you said in one of them that you did some interviews. So what I did was I went on to YouTube and searched you up there and just seeing all these interviews. And that's really what kind of hooked me right there and what sold me on you really know what you're doing with people. And I probably watched at least a dozen interviews. And I said, okay, I've got to do this. Now, yeah, granted, there is an investment involved, But the way I look at it is this, is like I said, I just got married a year ago. So I'm investing in myself to make my life as good as I can. I've got a daughter that just turned 21 this year. And when I was growing up, by age 26, I actually lost both of my parents. You know, my dad had diabetes for years, and he passed away from diabetic complications in his early 60s. Now, my grandmother had diabetes for years as well, and she lived to 95. Now, both of them were on insulin, and I've always been on medication for diabetes, and I never ever wanted to get to the point where I was on insulin. So when I saw that number 10.2, I really got scared. I really did. It scared me straight, I guess, if you want to call it that. And I said, I've got to do this. So I told my wife what I wanted to do, and she was all on board with it. So come July 1, I started working with y'all. Right, she signed up like right before that. And it's just been amazing ever since. I mean, my life has 100% turned around, and I couldn't be happier. But yeah, I mean, I know I didn't want to go down the same path that my dad and grandmother did, so I'm happy.
That's awesome. I think it's amazing to see that you're able to, again, break the cycle, and now you become one of the people that are on YouTube that other people see, and that you can also, you know, make a ripple effect for, you know, your future kids, and, you know, for, you know, their grandchildren or your grandchildren in the future. So that's really exciting.
Yay.
Yes.
Now, one other thing I told my primary care yesterday, because she's like, how did you do what you're doing? I said, look, I changed my diet. I'm eating mainly whole food, plant-based. And I said, the great thing about it, she's like, you're totally vegan. I said, no, I'm not. I said, the great thing about it is there's flex meals that you can add in there as well. And I said, I've done that over the course of time too. So she's like, oh, mainly plant-based? I said, yeah. But that's the beauty of the system, is that anyone can follow it. You just have to believe in yourself and be disciplined. And that's the one thing that I'm really good at, is being disciplined about something when I get started with it.
I love that.
And I've just barely scratched the surface here with all the recipes and things that you can do with whole food plant-based.
Yeah, that's amazing. I love what you said, and I think I love the way you educate other people too, especially when it's a healthcare provider, right? Because this is not all about being vegan to educate them. This is about mainly whole foods, plant-based diet, and you can include flexibility in there. I think a lot of people see me on TikTok, they're like, you're just advocating for veganism and all that. I'm like, no, this is not what it's about. Like, actually, most of my clients aren't vegan at all. I won't even call myself vegan, but, you know, I think it's very interesting that, you know, I think a lot of people think it's all or nothing, but in reality, yeah, you can enjoy other different foods every once in a while and still be able to keep this lifestyle. So I love that.
Sure. So I've got another story to share too. So before I got married, probably about 6 months before that, I got accepted into a study for my eyes because diabetes has had an issue with my sight. I actually found out I have a detached retina in my right eye. Now, because I'd had an eye exam a year before that, had they told me go see a specialist, there's a chance that could have been saved. So I got accepted into a study for my left eye. And during the study, I actually wound up getting laser treatment on my left eye because I actually had bleeding in my eye. And the laser didn't seem to be working. So what they wound up doing was changing it to shots in my eye, like a medication for my eye as part of the study. And that's helped out quite a bit. Now, fast forward a little bit into this year, before I started working with you, there was still bleeding in the eye. Now, because I see them like every 6 weeks. Okay. The last 2 appointments I've had, I haven't had to get any shots, and the bleeding is completely gone.
Wow.
And I'm seeing better now than I had previously. So they test my eyes with letters and stuff all the time. And they're like, look, whatever you're doing, keep doing it.
Wow, that's amazing. That actually gave me goosebumps right now. I think it's amazing to hear that. That reminds me of Dr. Gregor's, one of his lectures, and he talked about how, when people were put on this rice and fruit diet, super high carbohydrate, right? People started getting off insulin and their eyesight actually started to improve. And, the results were so bizarre that they actually called in an eye doctor to verify the results, right? Because it's just so unconventional, right? Rice and fruit supposedly will raise your blood sugar, right? But I think it's amazing to see that, wow, like you're able to reverse the root cause of type 2 diabetes. You're able to, increase your body's carbohydrate tolerance and be able to lower your blood sugar, control it, where you don't just see it in your A1C. You're not just seeing it in your reduction in medication. You're also seeing it in your eyesight, which is amazing. That's bizarre. I'm so happy for you.
Well, thank you so much. Now, truth be told, when I first started the program, I was about 3 weeks into it. So part of this deal with my eyes is they do blood work every once in a while.
Mm-hmm.
So mind you, 3 weeks before that, I was at 10.2. They did blood work on me and I was at 10.1. And I told, because I actually saw a nurse practitioner at that time, instead of the endocrinologist, he wasn't available. And at that time, they wanted to change my medication to one called Janumet. I was on metformin previously, and I said, well, can we put the brakes on here and let me see what I could do in 3 months? And he's like, nope, we're going to change you. So I had talked to Cara on that, Coach Cara, and she's like, well, reach out again and see what you could do. Well, actually, with my insurance, there was actually an insurance issue where I couldn't get Janumet. So she said, look, just keep taking your metformin, stay on the plan, and we'll see what we can do. So I told the endocrinologist, when I talked to him the other day, I said, look, the nurse practitioner didn't listen to me. And I said, look at what I was able to do. Because he said, you're on this Janumet. I said, no, I'm not. I said, I've been able to do this with metformin. And he's like, wow, good job. Keep on doing what you're doing. He said, we're going to erase this from your records and we're going to cut your medications in half. And you keep doing what you're doing, we can talk about eliminating them. So,
wow. That's amazing. I think isn't it interesting how, the world, or, whatever you call it, universe, God, like, I think it's interesting that, you're about to be put on Janumet, you don't want to, and Cara's like, just try to see what happens, and it works out that you were never put on Janumet, and at the same time, you're able to cut metformin in half, and now you're on your way to getting off metformin. So right. I think it's just cool, because once you set your mind straight on trying to improve your health, I think everything just falls into place. So it's just such a cool story to hear.
Now, I've actually been eating more than I have in my entire life eating this way, and I've dropped 20 pounds. So that's been like the side benefit to it. My shorts are actually falling off me now if I don't wear a belt.
That's crazy. And how do you make sense of that? I know a lot of times, especially, in the diabetes world, there's all these diets about restriction, right? Count your calories, limit your calories, or cut carbs. I don't know if you've tried any of them in the past. And, if you have, how does it compare to, this lifestyle? And, how do you make sense of that?
Oh, you name it. I've tried it in the past. At one point in time, my A1C dropped down to 5.4. However, that was because of a medication that I was put on, glimepiride. My primary care put me on a 4 milligram dose of that. It dropped my A1C, but it also did a couple other things to me too. It threw me into hyperglycemia, or hypoglycemia. And I'd never experienced that before. That scared the life out of me, because I felt like I was going to pass out. And I told my doctor on the next visit, I said, please get me off of this. And that's when they had increased the metformin from 1,000 milligrams a day to 2,000 milligrams a day. So, but yeah, I mean, you name it, I've tried it in the past.
Mhm.
So, and nothing has ever worked until I've used your system.
Oh, that's so awesome. And I think, what's interesting is I think in our Western medical world, a lot of times the solution is, medicine or, cut your carbs. But I think it's just cool to hear that you're able to lower your medications and lower your blood sugar with just food itself. And I think that's awesome. That's the power of natural foods.
See, I've always heard that in the past that you can do it with foods, but I never believed it until I did it myself. I'm still doing it. And even when my A1C is where it needs to be, where I'm no longer considered diabetic, I mean, of course, you're still going to have to watch your diet your entire life, but I'm going to continue eating this way. I mean, like I said, it's really opened my eyes up to a lot of different things. And the part that I love the most is the flex part of it too. So when we had our 1-year anniversary, I definitely had a flex meal that night. So
that's awesome. I love it. I love it. I love that you enjoyed time. And I think it's awesome because I want people to realize that this is not about perfection. And, it's not that you have to be perfect in order for this to work. It's more so the big picture, right? And I think a part of the big picture is also enjoying your social life, enjoying your relationships, savoring the moments, an anniversary, that's super huge. And so I think that's definitely something that, I'm very proud of. It's awesome that you're able to do this and, you really, took the whole system and you're like, okay, we're doing this. And, now you're sharing with other people what you've seen and what actually really works and what could be possible. And I think the biggest thing is also showing your medical team, right? And you're doing it the right way. You're not taking yourself off medications or anything like that. You're trying to improve, you're trying to change your diet, and then you show your doctor, hey, this is what's happening. And I think it's also a part of educating and influencing your doctors as well. So I think that's amazing.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. When I first started the system, I adopted 3 words into my life, and I'm still using them every day. Because when you're doing something, there's a process to it. So one thing, and the best part about the system is that you journal everything. So one of my favorite lines I put in there was trust the process. So yeah, I mean, when I first started out, my numbers went higher because I test my blood sugars 3 times a day. But as you educate, that's normal when you're first starting something new. And I just keep telling myself, and to this day, Mike, trust the process, trust the process. It will happen. And it is.
Yeah. That's awesome. I think it's good to also, I think you brought up a good point. A lot of times mindset is a big part of this. And I always talk about that, but I think a lot of people are quick to ask, what should I eat? What should I eat? But you need to change your mind first, and your mind has to get there, right? Especially because this is something that's so unconventional. This is something that is so different from what you are used to. I think you need to put in a lot of mindset work and trusting, okay, this is gonna work. This is, the process that will bring me there. And so I love that. I love that you're able to, have a combination of not just physically, doing the things, but, really putting in mindset work as well. So that's awesome. I love it.
And working with the coaches too, that really helped out with accountability. Doing this alone, I don't know that I could have done it alone. Working with the team made a huge difference for me. It was, like I said, it's been life-changing for me. The cool thing that I really love is working with the coaches. They were giving me feedback, taking pictures of my meals and sending them in. And they would say, okay, well, maybe you can try this, or maybe you can try that. That was like worth its weight in gold to me.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think that's also important with, personalized feedback, just because a lot of times we think we're doing things right. But, when we have someone else there to tell us, okay, but maybe try this another way, maybe, do this instead, that definitely helps a lot with, improving the process. So I love that. That's awesome.
Well, another cool thing I like too is, like we were talking about the flex part of it. So a couple of times I was going out to restaurants and I would send y'all the menu. and just say, hey, how about some recommendations?
Yeah.
And every single time I got some awesome recommendations from y'all.
Oh, that's great. That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, like, and that's the thing too, is being able to enjoy restaurants, right? Being able to enjoy life, being able to travel, enjoy the restaurant experience. And, we all love looking at, I especially love looking at restaurant menus. So it's awesome that, you're able to get that from our coaches and to help you, choose delicious foods at a restaurant. So I love that.
Well, and the videos you put out are just invaluable. I mean, they are so amazing that you're putting out on TikTok and Instagram and Facebook daily. Please keep that up.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm glad you don't think it's silly. A lot of times it's, I try everything and, I'm glad that you enjoy that. That's good.
Oh, yeah. I mean, especially the ones where you do at the grocery store,
Yeah.
where you're showing different things to get. I've gone to Trader Joe's a few times and purchased some of the things that you found. So love it.
Yay! That's awesome. That's awesome. Is there anything else you'd like to tell our audience before we wrap up?
Well, the one thing I would say is if you're fighting diabetes, don't be afraid to invest in yourself. If you're really serious about making a change, Charmaine and the team will absolutely help you. I mean, I am a true believer. When I first started the system, my numbers did go a little higher, but very quickly after that, they dropped. And they kept dropping and dropping, and I'm like, whoa. So if you're willing to invest in yourself, this works.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Mike. And it's amazing to see how, you turn from a skeptic to a client to now a program coach. For those of you who don't know, Mike is actually heading some of our group coaching, our peer-to-peer coaching. And so it's amazing to see, how much how invested you are in this and how much you want to help other people to do the same as well. So thank you so much, Mike. I really appreciate it. I think you're amazing, and it just lightens my heart to be able to speak with you today. And for those of you who are watching, if you want to learn more about the science behind reversing diabetes, you can check out our free training. Or if you'd like to work with us one-on-one, you can book a call with us to apply for it. Or if you'd like to join a 100% online course, you can also join our Deactivate Diabetes Academy as well. But hope everyone has a good day, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Have a good one.
Mm-hmm.